In this video, I will explain genre conventions of charity newsletters and how they fit into their rhetorical situation. Whether you are going to watch this video to learn more about charity newsletters, be entertained, grade this assignment, or try to forget about the coronavirus, I hope you find it informative and that you will become a better member of society because of it. Over time, newsletters in general have changed, not necessarily what they accomplish, but how they are delivered and the media they are presented in. Charity newsletters usually come in the media of mail, PDF file, online, and email. Charity newsletters are often presented in these different media, are formatted differently, and have different content. Yet we recognize that they are all charity newsletters. Why? Because the charity newsletter is responding to its rhetorical situation. According to Amy DeVitt in Generalizing About Genre, New Conceptions of an Old Concept, genres respond to recurring rhetorical situations. In this case, the charity newsletter is responding to a rhetorical situation that comes up again and again. I will briefly explain what rhetorical situation is and how it applies to charity newsletters. The rhetorical situation includes a genre's exigence, rhetors, audiences, and constraints. According to Lloyd Bitzer, in the rhetorical situation, the exigence is an imperfection marked by an urgency. For charity newsletters, the exigence is that people lack knowledge. They don't know what the charity is doing or the charity's existence. If people don't know what the charity is doing or that it exists, they may not donate to the charity or volunteer there, which may lead to the charity no longer functioning. The charity newsletter also seeks to persuade people to donate or continue donating. In Keith Grant Davies' article, Rhetorical Situations and Their Constituents, he explains that the rhetors are people responsible for the discourse and its authorial voice. In many charity organizations, different people write articles, and one person compiles them into a document and sends it to subscribers, making the charity itself the rhetor. The audience are people who read the charity newsletter. Grant Davey explains that a discourse may have primary and secondary audiences. Charities write primarily for their members, who are usually donors of time and/or money. In addition, charities write newsletters to invite those who are not supporters to donate and volunteer at the charity. Government officials are a secondary audience because charities need to show that they are spending donated money as required. Otherwise, the government may shut them down. Constraints, according to Bitzer, are made up of persons, events, objects, and relations which are part of the situation because they have the power to constrain decisions and action needed to modify the exigence. The main constraint that charities face is time. Without a consistent newsletter, charities may suffer because subscribers may stop supporting the charity, which could lead to underfunding and possible disbandment of the organization. The audience is also constrained by time, for they want to read what relates to them, and not necessarily the entire newsletter, because they have other things they'd rather do. Just to recap, the charity newsletter is created to help people know about the charity and how they are using donations. The newsletter is created by people within the charity and sent to subscribers. People who read the newsletter include donors, potential donors, and government officials. Charity newsletters are constrained by time for the charity and reader. The rhetorical situation shapes the genre and its conventions. Linda Benedict and Jan Colbert, in Designing Your Newsletter, list common genre conventions of newsletters. For charity newsletters that are created today, the following is most relevant from that article. Nameplate or heading, which is usually on the first page at the top and includes the organization's name and the newsletter's title. The masthead tells the reader how to contact the charity. The main way that charities keep in contact with subscribers today is through social media. The text, format, and voice of a newsletter is created to keep the reader engaged. Headlines, usually called headers, come before sections that they are describing. Newsletters should have art and photographs. In addition to these conventions, charity newsletters use acronyms and links. Acronyms and links allow the newsletter to be shorter. Let's look at some examples from different media now. This is a MELD newsletter from the Cheetah Conservation Fund. Their mission is to help cheetahs and preserve cheetahs' ecosystems. The first page has key dates and locations that readers may be interested in. These events are held from New York City to San Francisco, so readers from many parts of the country can participate relatively close to home. Potential donors who attend events may be persuaded to donate, thus fulfilling the charity's exigence to gain more donors. The Cheetah Conservation Fund includes several photos throughout the newsletter. The pictures show young cheetahs, those who work with cheetahs, and those who donate to the Cheetah Conservation Fund. Each page has a single column, and they are short because the pages are shorter than a typical 8.5 by 11-inch sheet of paper. These short columns allow readers to read quickly because their eyes don't have to travel very far from one end of the line to the next. The charity refers to itself by using its acronym CCF in its articles. By shortening the name, they can quickly write it and save themselves time as they are creating the newsletter. This comes at a cost to readers who are unfamiliar with the charity's acronym, for they will need to remind themselves what CCF stands for as they read. This is a PDF newsletter created by the Catholic Relief Services. They seek to relieve human suffering overseas and help Catholics live their faith in the United States. On the right side of the first page, they include key parts of the newsletter, which acts as a table of contents. This makes it easy for the reader to navigate the newsletter and for the charity to emphasize important points. This short blurb, Share an Encounter Dinner, demonstrates that the charity is trying to reach out to different audiences. The text is directed to current participants of the Catholic Relief Services, encouraging them to welcome new neighbors. If potential donors read this, they can see how easy it is to participate in the Catholic Relief Services. Stay at home and invite a neighbor to their dinner. Even if they don't do this, they may appreciate what the charity is doing and spread the word. Government officials who read this can see that the charity is trying to make the world a better place by calling on its readers to create a friendly neighborhood. The newsletter is written in one column. Sometimes it is broken up by pictures, but other times it extends across the entire page, making reading difficult. It may be faster for the charity to leave it in one column, but it decreases the newsletter's readability and may drive some readers away. This is an interactive online newsletter from the American Jewish World Service. They seek to make human rights a reality and end poverty in the world. The heading gives the newsletter's title, Hope for Healing Our Broken World. This can be reassuring for the audience because they can see that the charity is trying to fulfill its mission to end poverty by providing hope. The newsletter refers directly to the reader in the letter, which calls the reader to act. After the opening letter, headings separate summaries of articles that are written in third person. All the text is written in active voice, giving the charity a persona of actively fulfilling their mission. On the far left, the charity includes social media links that the reader can click on to see what the charity is currently doing. If the reader is impressed enough with what the charity posts, they may follow the charity and share, spreading the word of the charity to other people who may not be aware of its existence, and they may choose to donate. This is an emailed newsletter from AARP, the American Association of Retired Persons. Their mission is to increase the quality of life for people as they age. Interestingly, this is the only charity in our examples that the charity's full name isn't written out somewhere in the newsletter. That is most likely because AARP is so well known that they don't have to use their full name. The charity uses lots of links. Nearly all the text, boxes, and pictures are linked to appropriate web pages. For example, if a reader clicked on Deadline Extended, the text below it, the box below that, or the picture to the left, he or she would be led to the same webpage because it's all associated with one idea. The newsletter talks about the coronavirus. The charity includes an article summary and link to track COVID-19, and at the bottom of the newsletter, they have a note that explains that the e-newsletter will vary due to the coronavirus. This is very applicable information for everyone in the community, for they are affected by the coronavirus. Having this information helps them learn more about it. After looking at those 4 newsletters and the rhetorical situation, we can see that they respond to their situations. We know why the newsletter includes certain components and why it's written in active voice. We can create a charity newsletter that responds to its rhetorical situation and help charities succeed to make the world a better place for humanity. Now that you've watched me analyze a genre, find a genre of your choice that you'd like to learn how to create and then get back to society. Create that genre for the benefit of others.